Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. Want to mention all our fabulous sponsors. Make sure you go to stogiegeeks.com/debonair and check out Debonair Cigars. Next week's episode will feature Phil Zangi from Debonair Cigars. We're going to pepper him with some more questions and really tap into his knowledge of tobacco, which is something that we didn't get a chance to do when the first time he was on the show this year. So I'm very excited to bring Phil back and really tap into his knowledge of tobacco. You notice some of the questions I had for Lou Rodriguez were really kind of hammering them on the wrapper leaves and types and things like that, and that's something that I want to feature more of on the show. Really out of my own curiosity as well, and getting all that stuff straight and learning about the different methods of fermentation. And Phil's very much an expert on that. And his cigars are fabulous. I encourage everyone to try them out. When you go to stogiegeeks.com/debonair, you find a list of retailers there. Of course, you can call up our other sponsor, Mr. J. Havana's Smoke Shop, whose banner, unfortunately, is sitting over there. We're working on trying to get the banners up behind us. Look for that in the coming weeks. But their shop is right down the street from our new studio, and you can call them up, Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop. They also have Paul Joyle's line of cigars there. Paul Joyle is the owner, and he produces the J. Grotto series cigar. And they've got everything from a reserve line to a Connecticut line. And I have to say, speaking of Connecticut's that I like to smoke, his line of Connecticut's is full of flavor.
Absolutely.
Definitely check them out. He's distributing to a lot of retailers, so you can find out more at oceanstatecigars.com. Our last sponsor is, of course, last but not least, the Havana Cigar Club, very close to our location here in G Unit Studios. And you can go there and stop in and get a fine cigar and a drink and smoke in a nice environment. They've got a gigantic space. It's three units all together. They've got public lounge, members lounge. It's a great place to go. And, of course, if you want to come visit both our sponsors and our studio, send us email, the show at stogiegeeks.com. Love to have some people live here in studio now that we've got if the cameras were turned around, you'd see a whole bunch of space for people to sit. So send us email, the show at stogiegeeks.com. We'd love to have you down as a guest. So
That'd be awesome.
Whether you want to come on the show and be on camera or whether you want to just sit and observe and hang out, love to have you here in studio, the show at stogiegeeks.com. Send us email. Will, I was just thinking we had to close out the contest, so we're going to do another set. It was a 3-segment show, so maybe in the last segment I'll pull up that information. I do have a winner for who submitted the video review for the Epic. I think it was a 3 or 4 pack of Oasis rated cigars from the Stogie Geeks. I'm going to go back through my notes. I do have a winner for that contest, and our top 10 cigar contest is just out of control. Off the hook, Will. We got more submissions than any other contest we've ever done for that contest. Super excited about it.
Yep, there's a 5-pack of La Aurora Tubos for the prize that we'll draw after the show. And
that's going to be our segment tonight. We're going to talk about everyone else's list.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff, so we'll be going through some of the highlights. I mean, we got so many, we're not going to be able to read every one of them, but we really appreciate everyone taking the time. There was some really interesting cigars, I thought, on some of those lists.
How's everyone's unbanded from Seth?
Mine is I'd say right now it's medium strength, medium body. I'm getting a combination of wood, a little cedar, and a grass note with some pepper. It's smoking really well.
You get a touch of earthiness.
Yeah, I'm getting a touch of earth on it. Seth has given us one hint. It's not Nicaraguan.
Thanks for that, Seth.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess what this cigar is.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to throw out a guess. I'm throwing caution to the wind. This is extremely dangerous when you smoke an unbanded cigar because you can be really, really wrong. And I'm probably really, really wrong, but I'm going to say it's a punch.
Wow.
That's my guess. A Cuban punch. I'm going off what Mark Jr. said. Mark Jr. said punch before, and I agree with his assessment. And I'm gonna stake it out there as a punch, 5.3 inch by 46 ring gauge, punch. That's what I think it is.
Interesting. I'm waiting to hear if Seth has responded back to the punch. I just pinged him, but I'm actually dumbfounded on what this could be. I was thinking it could. I thought it might be Cuban at first. something's telling me maybe Nicaraguan, but I'm actually completely dumbfounded
I'm
right now.
tainted now because it came from Seth.
It came from Seth, the host, Big Tuna. Now, Mark Jr., what about you? You're in agreement? It's a punch.
Well, I said punch because it just reeked of Cuban when I looked at it and smelled it. And now that I'm smoking it, I still think it's Cuban. And to me, and all Cuban cigars kind of have that soft box press, but to me, punch is always like kind of been defined by that softer box press that this has. So I'm not going off of any flavor hints that's saying definitely punch. I'm going more off of aesthetics.
Real quick, I'm getting a couple comments saying the show is not working. Are we broadcasting live?
We're live. We're streaming, recording.
According to what I'm hearing, people on Cigar Fed cannot see it. Or Ustream.
Why don't you go ahead in your first smoke? We'll take a look at that.
Okay, so I'll actually start off with a cigar. I'm going to start off with an Oasis level cigar. And this is more of a formality, but I'm officially naming the Avo Limited Edition 2010. It was an epic cigar that we mentioned when we did our epic smokes, but I'm officially designating it to be a Oasis level cigar right now. Now, the interesting thing I thought about that cigar when I smoked one over the weekend, and I thought about things for a second. That cigar is going on 4 years old right now. So it probably was rolled about 4 years ago, because Avos typically are released in March for his birthday. And I'm just amazed that cigar is holding both its strength and its body at this point. I mean, it's not losing anything. So it's not mellowed. It still packs a nice punch to it. So it's, in my opinion, now almost 4 years old. That thing's still smoking damn good.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mark Jr.
Yeah,
I love that cigar, by the way, Will.
Yeah, I mean, so it's officially
It's awesome.
been designated Oasis level on the Stogie Geek scale now, so that it's in the archives of history.
It's going to go down in history, right? My first smoke of the week was Ashen ESG 24-year salute. It's a 6 5/8 by 47 Perfecto. It's almost like a Perfecto Churchill. Really is what it was like. Best way for me to describe it. It's a Dominican sun-grown wrapper from Chateau de Fuente, and the binder and filler is Dominican. They're about $22 a piece. This was the fourth or fifth release. Will, do you know that?
They started with the 20 or the 21.
That's what I'm debating in my head too.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
They just did one, the Perfecto, this year. It's the 25 this year.
So it's a different Perfecto than the one that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, oh no, I'm confused. Yeah, this is the Perfecto. I meant to say this is the Perfecto, right?
Yeah, and it's a 24.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just I got a little distracted here. Two things, we're back on, and Seth said it is not a punch Cuban, but it is a Cuban. So Mark Jr., I know we're just talking about the ESG. What is your opinion? The ESG is a funny blend, because I find people either like it or they don't, and there's no in between with that one. It's either people want to smoke it or people don't want to have anything to do with it.
Sure. And I fell into the diabolically opposed to this blend prior to this, but I was in Mr. J's maybe about a couple weeks ago, and as a matter of fact, I bought it when I bought some of the new Racines from L'Atelier, and Stogie Santa said, "Here, smell these," right? And they smell good, they look good, so I bought one and decided to give it a try. I have to say, this is by far and away the best one that I've ever smoked. It did not have any of the harshness that I've had on previous ones in the past. This one had like a nice subtle sweetness and some leather and cedar. It also had like a nice balanced black pepper and a touch of Dominican grass. I would definitely say I was very, very pleasantly surprised with this stick, and I would even go as far to say that it would rank it as a box split in my opinion, which is like so far and away above what I would have ranked my other previous experiences with this blend. So I was excited to talk about this one.
I did not like this when I smoked it. It had that harshness when I smoked it. Now I did smoke it when it first came off the truck, so maybe it needed a little time to settle down.
Yeah, I've had mine for at least 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, I think I want to revisit it based on what you've said.
I really liked it, and I would get more. So
to give it a box split, because it was not anywhere near a box split. This is the Ashton VSG. This is the release for this year, for 2014. It came out.
Yeah, I said box split. It's very expensive, so I don't think I would buy 12 or 15 of them just because of that. But being objective and taking price out of it, that's what I thought of it. So
I smoked a lot of interesting stuff this week.
you have a lot of entries this week.
I do. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna go through them kind of quick. I smoked a Camacho Connecticut Robusto. I did not like this as much as the Corona size. I thought the Corona size was awesome. I would smoke a lot more of those. The Robusto, to me, it seemed somewhat unbalanced. Had a very different flavor profile. It like Stogie Santa says, it kind of couldn't make up its mind. I'm saying try one to see, because I know a lot of people like the Robusto size in this Connecticut, but for me, it wasn't a big fan, and I rated it a try one, and I've been a big fan of that blend. So,
Paul, I was just saying that seems to be a go-to Connecticut a lot that you have, whether it's the old or the new one. Yeah.
I also smoked an Arturo Fuente Hemingway Signature Maduro. This one's about a year old. Spent a year in my humidor. This is a box split, and I smoked this because Stogie Santa said these were smoking great, and he was right. This is a phenomenal smoke. It's in between the bestseller and the
Signature, right?
The classic. This is the signature.
This is a signature.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah.
So this is a signature Maduro. You can find these pretty regularly available now. They're more available than they used to be. It was a great offering, medium body, full of flavor, great cigar to have in the morning. It's not overpowering. Some of those Hemingway Maduros get really strong. In fact, expert Steve was smoking the Masterpiece Maduro, and he gets down to the last third of it, which is like a Robusto size when you get down to the last third of that cigar. And he was like, wow, this is really amping up in strength. This one doesn't do that. It's a great medium-bodied, great smoke. Will, back to you.
So, based on our Stogie Geeks end of the year ratings, I gave the Unnamed Reserve 2013 a whirl. And this was in the Toro size. So, from what I understand, the Toro size of the Unnamed Reserve is a little bigger ring gauge than the 2012 was. So this is a 50. But everything, I guess, from talking to a lot of folks, it sounds like that the Robusto was the preferred Vitola of this. As I started doing some research, there was a few interesting things I found out. First of all, I couldn't find anything out about the tobacco. That was no surprise. But I didn't realize that they were packaging these things in a combo box. So if you buy a box of them, they come in a box of 20, but you get 10 Robustos and 10 Toros. So that's something I learned I didn't realize they were doing either. That being said, if the Robusto is better than this, that's a very good cigar, because this Toro was excellent. It was classic Fuente. It had black pepper. It had some notes of hay in there. The sweetness was great that was coming off this cigar. It was a combination of like natural tobacco with a little bit of caramel in it. The notes were nice and heavy on the palate. I'd say this is a full-bodied smoke. The strength is in that sweet spot of medium to full. The only issue I had, and maybe Paul kind of rubbed off, is the first quarter of that cigar. The burn was kind of uneven and flaky, but it corrected whatever it is. It corrected itself, and the rest of the way it was fine. I still gave it a box worthy, assuming that box worthy based on 20 Toros, and I haven't had the Robusto, but a leap of faith. I'm assuming the Robusto is just as good. So I enjoyed that stick. Good recommendation.
The sweetness is what really stood out to me on that.
That was exactly Mark Jr. I didn't expect to get that type of sweetness off this cigar.
No,
not a complex, not an overly complex, not an overly cigar. It's gonna do a lot of transitions, but just delivers great flavor.
Agreed, 100%.
I smoked that same stick, Will, after last week's show, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I would say box split, maybe even box. I mean, the way they come, they're box where they're super limited, so it's hard to get a box. But people say that the Robusto is better, and I haven't smoked that one yet. And if the Robusto is better than that Toro from 2013, I'm really anxious to smoke it. I only got 2 of each size.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, any burn issues? I know you're, in all
No,
seriousness.
I
I
actually did not have any burn issues with that.
Okay. So could have just chalk it up to maybe this one I had.
Now,
I had no construction issues with the 2 that I'd smoked either.
It's interesting to note that Adam in the chat room says that it's better than last year. So the 2012 unnamed reserve, someone gifted me one from last year, and I smoked it. I actually smoked it this morning. It was my first cigar of the day today, and I thought it was awesome. I thought it was awesome, actually. I know that people say that, that the 2013 is better than 2012, and I can see that. I think there's more flavors in the 2013 unnamed reserve than the 2012 unnamed reserve has been my experience thus far. And I only smoked one that was gifted to me, and I thought it was good. But I think Adam's right. I agree with the assessment that 2013. I think the flavor department is amped up.
And it's a lighter wrapper on that 13.
It is.
I mean, they're
There's
different
some dark.
blends, from what I
Yeah,
understand,
you can see the pictures in my notes. I mean, it's a dark wrapper. So.
Yep.
I think there's a decent chance that wrapper is actually an Opus wrapper. I have no basis for that other than the fact that I've smoked hundreds of Opuses, but it's just for some reason I just think that's what it is.
Mark Jr., over to you.
I went back to a cigar that was finished as an honorable mention on my list, and it was the Viaje White Label Project Super Shot. This one came out last year, and if I'm not mistaken, this was a size that was produced, and it was like incorrectly rolled. And so Andre decided to shelve it, and it came out as a white label project. So this is more akin with the original release of the Super Shots, if I'm not mistaken. It's a Criollo 98 wrapper from Nicaragua, binder and filler Nicaraguan. They were pretty reasonably priced at about $7 a piece. I'm happy to report that this cigar is still smoking pretty damn well, in my opinion. The spice is still there. The balance seems to be coming along a little bit more than what it was before. I'd have to go back and smoke some of the original Super Shots to see if that's consistent with those as well. But I think this is a pretty solid offering from Andre, and I look forward to more of these Super Shots in the future because I think it's turning into one of his more consistent releases.
I agree, and so this one I thought was the best of the Super Shots he did, and this is my understanding of it. It's the length of the 10 gauge with the ring gauge of the 12 gauge, and in my opinion, that was ideal. So it gave basically it's a longer version of the 12 gauge, and it has the Criollo wrapper on it, and I agree. I thought that was of a lot of the white label projects Andre's done. That one was a really good one, and if that's a mistake, I'd like to see that mistake done again. And we'll have Andre on in a few weeks to talk about that
before the end of the month.
Yep. So that's a little breaking news there on Stogies.
And next week we have a guest, another guest aside from Phil.
Yeah.
Glenn Case. Yeah, Glenn Case is on next week as well from Christoph.
Yeah, we have some big show next week. We have a doubleheader next week, 2 guests, so you're not going to want to miss. We have some really good shows lined up for the February sweeps right now. So
I'll tell you, if you've never met or spoken to Glenn in the past, he's a very engaging individual, and it ought to be a very good interview.
Absolutely.
I smoked a Hoya de Nicaragua Cuatro Cinco.
I want to hear about this.
Yeah, I gave it a 5. I think it's still a little young. had a lot of rich kind of tobacco flavors. I'd say a little bit of coffee type flavors. I thought it was good. It was still a little unbalanced and had a little bit of youngness still associated with it. I'm saying fiver. I smoked one now. I'm probably going to put the rest of the 4 I have down for maybe a year or so. I think that this has some huge aging potential with this cigar. I think those flavors are going to really meld together, and you're going to get this. I think it's going to be a lot more creamy than it is now, and I think that it's those flavors are really going to come through, especially in the coffee and the deeper, richer flavors in it.
I'm in total agreement with you on that. I think they need to sit a while, and I think my gut is it's gonna be fine, but it's just a little young still.
Excellent.
They were wet when they came into the store. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They were wet when I smoked it too. From the burn. Just before we go to you, Mark Jr.
Well, Will, I think it's your turn.
Okay, before we go to me, just to kind of touch base again. Any other guesses as to our unbanded? I do know the answer. I'll caveat that saying I have the answer.
It's not a punch, he said.
It's not a punch.
But it is
definitely
it is Cuban.
It's a Cuban, so I'll kind of let you guys sit on that a little longer. I would not have gotten this one, so you guys might.
Let's see. I don't think it's that, Paul.
No.
No.
I'm on a website.
We get to see each other's computers now. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's not a San Cristobal. It's not a Romeo and Juliet. It's not a Ramon Leones.
It's not a Vegas.
No. It may be one of those other brands I haven't tried. What is it, Will? Why don't you give the reveal? I think it's my guess is that it's a Cuban brand that I haven't tried yet.
Okay. I believe I've smoked this one. Mark Jr., you want to take one guess? You're the man when it comes to this, Mark Jr.
It's a lot of pressure now. I don't have any idea, but you know what? I'll go out on a limb and I'll try something. Maybe it's a Diplomaticos. What would that be? It would be a number 3 if it's a Robusto. Because they're kind of hardly box. They're kind of more box press like this. I don't know. It's a guess.
Let's give the reveal.
Total guess.
It is a St. Louis Ray from February 2007.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, a Cuban brand I've never tried.
Yeah,
You know what?
it's a Cuban brand I've never tried.
I'm picking up a little strength now. I'm in the second half, and it's picked up a bit more.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I think in both strength and flavors it's picked up.
Yep, both. The flavors are definitely weighing heavier in the pot. It's a nice smoke. I'm really enjoying it in this.
So it's a St. Louis Ray. What would that? Is it a Robusto? Is it a Grand Corona maybe?
Well, I think Seth on. I mean, I was thinking it's more like a Corona Gorda.
Yeah.
More like a Corona Gorda, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's probably more accurate.
But we thank it's Corona Gorda, he said, and I mean, this is a nice little smoke here.
Yeah,
so
it sure is.
We definitely thanks, and he said they call it the Grand Corona. So,
Thank you, Seth.
Yep, thank you very much, Seth. And Seth will be on for his redo because we kind of had some of the issues when he was on last time. He'll be on next month, and we'll be doing one more unbanded he has. So he always puts up a good challenge. So thank you very much, Seth, and for the support as well.
Well, I think it's your turn.
Okay, so it was Super Bowl week this week, and I smoked a cigar which was released by AJ Fernandez called the San Lotano. This is a mouthful of a name. The San Lotano Oval Habano Limited Edition Pigskin Super Smoke Figurado 48. I'm just gonna call it the pigskin. Okay.
Let's go with that.
All right. So what it is it's using the oval box press shape that San Lotano has, and they put it into a perfecto that kind of looks like a football. But the difference is this is very smokable. This is not like a Fuente football. What I was told from the national sales manager when I was asking about this, it was one of the blends originally being considered for the El Mayembe Limited. It uses an Ecuadorian Habano 2000 wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and a combination of Honduran and Nicaraguan filler. I've not been a big fan of the oval line. I'll be straight. I've never the oval line's just not done a lot for me. But I actually thought this was one of the better blends. Uh, it has coffee. It had a nice pepper. It had a little bit of cherry and a little bit of citrus. A couple of notes was sour along the way, but for the most part, the citrus provided sweetness. I was also impressed with the way this thing burned and drew for kind of a weird perfecto shape. I was close to a box split. I'm going to kind of assess it as a fiver. If you can find this cigar, it's not impossible to find it. They released it in the New York area because that's where the Super Bowl was held. And there's a couple of shops that have it. And on the Stogie feed, I have some notes on who has it. But it was a limited run of 1,000 boxes of 10.
1,000 boxes of 10?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, so worth checking out if you can get your hands on this one. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the oval line, but I thought this one smoked real good.
Nice. I want to talk about a cigar that both Mark Jr. and I smoked, the Letellier Extension de la Racine. We had some differing opinions on this cigar, I think. So,
Well,
Mark Jr., I'm going to grab another smoke. I'm going to let you go first. I got to grab another smoke. But
yeah. So this is a 5 7/8 by 52 Toro, a Nicaraguan Criollo wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler. But all of the Letellier blends to date have had Sancti Spiritu somewhere in the blend. And this one, it's in the filler. They're about 9 1/4. It's a limited production. I couldn't find the exact numbers on what it was, on what the release was. And this cigar was created and distributed, sold to tobacconists that attended the IPCPR this summer. Very similar to what Pete Johnson's done in the past with TAA members. It's a, you sort of had your eligibility was preordained, if you will. You can't just call up and get it. I thought the construction and the burn were great. It burned for about an hour and a half. It was medium in strength, I thought, but full flavored. It had a nice sweetness, and that was particularly pleasant on the retrohale. The sweetness reminded me of a little bit of honey. I got, now, bear with me. I've been fighting this cold on and off for some time now, and I seem to have a couple good days and then a couple bad days. But it had a subtle tea note, and those two combined made almost like a sweet tea. It just in my mind reminded me a little bit of sweet tea. It had a cedar note as well. I think I was unfair when I posted my rating. I said it was a good smoke and worth a fiver. I think I would step it up, and I'd say it's probably box worthy at 15 cigars. I thought it was pretty damn good, actually. I think I still like the 46 SS a little better.
I thought this was a fantastic cigar. I agree. I thought it had some nice kind of subtle spice notes when I first lit it up. And then I got lost in the flavors in a good way. I was very consumed with it. I thought it had a nice balance of I agree with your flavors that you picked out. That cedar flavor with some sweetness. And it was just very well balanced to me the whole way through. It had some subtle change-ups. This was an extremely enjoyable cigar for me. I want to smoke more of them so I can pick out some more of the flavors in them. But this was my smoke of the week. This is a fight Chuck Norris for him for me. I thought this was one of the best Letellier cigars to come out, and definitely my smoke of the week. It was one that I got engrossed in the most when I smoked this week. So
I picked when I've only smoked a couple of them, and I had one as a pre-release. I remember when I had the pre-release, the sweetness was really unusual. It was almost marshmallow-like. But I think since that cigar's put a little age, I'm kind of more inclined to say what Mark Jr. is saying, a little bit of honey sweetness. So I'm still kind of going through. I want to smoke a few more of them because there's definitely more to that cigar, and a few smokes are definitely going to kind of paint the picture, I think, with that.
I don't think I've made it any secret to this point. I think what Letellier has been doing, is specifically through the Letellier named cigars, has been very good. I'm very impressed, and I've liked pretty much everything that they've come out with so far. So this is certainly not a departure from that.
I'm in total agreement, and they're doing some really good stuff. Casey and Pete and company, they're doing some really good stuff. That Sancti Spiritus is something special they're working with right now, and they're able to do a lot of things you're not seeing before with it.
Yeah, I think the first was it was used as a wrapper, right? And then in the Maduro it was used as a binder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then this has it in the filler now, so you can really get a good grasp on how that tobacco reacts in different ways.
Yep.
Through what they're doing. I think it's very interesting, and paired with the quality smokes, I think it's been fun.
Now, a little plug for our sponsor, Paul Joyle. KC is going to be in the shop next Monday. Is that correct?
I think that's right. I think next Monday is the date.
It's not in the shop, actually. It's at a local restaurant. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But sponsored by Mr. J's.
Exactly. It's Paul's event, but yeah.
Yep. So folks in the Rhode Island area may want to check that out. KC's really good at an event, by the way. So I think you guys are in for a treat if you're up there.
Yeah, that's next Monday at Melanzi's. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Melanzi's. Will, back to you.
I kind of did a little humidor digging with this one, and I smoked the Punch Rare Corojo 10th Anniversary Robusto. And this is one from 2011. So I think folks are familiar with the Punch Rare Corojo line. It comes out once a year. The thing is, it's really not a Corojo. It's actually an Ecuadorian Sumatra. But for some reason, it's called a Rare Corojo. But for the 10th year they did this, which was 2011, they actually used a Connecticut Corojo wrapper, which is something that the folks at General, I guess, were curing for a while. It's got a Connecticut broadleaf binder, and it's got the trifecta of Nicaraguan, Honduran, and Dominican filler. It was available in one size of 5x50. I'd say it's a soft box press they've done. The price point's very reasonable. $5.29 is the SRP on it, so it's not an expensive cigar. And like I said, these don't come out every year either. So I think they've released it one or two times the 10th anniversary with those Ecuadorian Sumatras. And the way you could tell it is from the picture, it's more of a light colored as opposed to a red band. But 3 years of age on this thing, almost, wow. Ton of flavor still. A lot of sweetness. It has this berry sweetness, a little bit of that baker's spice sweetness, and there's some pepper on it. It's not a complex smoke, but it's, again, one of those smokes delivers good flavor. I have it as a box split. I would have never had this as a box split when I first had this cigar. I would have had it as a try one. It just smoked really well. So if you have a few of these, I'm inclined to say put a couple away in your humidor when they come out, or keep them in your humidor if you see, this is something worth kind of going back to at a later point.
I really like this cigar, Will, a lot. I'm trying to find where I rated it. I rated it pretty high, and I haven't smoked it in a while.
And I just thought when it was out of the box, I don't want to say it wasn't ready, but the age really, like I said, this was the original batch that was released, and I think they've done one or two more since then.
Yeah, I didn't put a rating on it, but I said great smoke, smooth, different flavors from what I normally smoke. I remember really liking it. I got to go back and smoke it again for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the price point, you can't beat it either.
Yeah, it was like $5-6.
Yep.
Nice. Mark Jr., back to you.
The next cigar I smoked was the Undercrown Corona Viva. Now, this cigar came out was it last year or the year before? And I
2012. Yep.
Yeah, I smoked a ton of them, and I was like shocked that I hadn't put one up on the, my assessment of them up on the site. So I said, let's do it, right? It's a 5 5/8 by 46 Corona Gorda. It's their website listed as a San Andreas Negro wrapper, which I'm assuming is a San Andreas Maduro. It's a Connecticut River Valley stalk cut and cured Habano, which is similar to what's in the T52. And the filler has Brazilian Matafina and Nicaraguan Habano. They're about 7.25. This when the Undercrown originally launched, I was not the biggest fan. I didn't find it to be. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I didn't find it to be bad, but I didn't find it to be memorable either. That being said, this cigar is a little amped up version of the original Undercrown smokes, and I think it's that little extra kick to it has really done something nice to it. As you would expect with most Drew Estate cigars, an obnoxious amount of smoke comes off the foot when you light it. But unlike some other Drew Estate cigars, it wasn't an overwhelming amount of smoke that came through as you were smoking it, which I have always found to be pleasing with this cigar. It had flavors of cocoa and spice and red pepper, a nice full-bodied profile. I would say it's medium plus in strength and definitely full-flavored. I put it as a box split, and I stand by that. I think that's a really, really good cigar, and it's probably one of the better things that Drew Estate's making as a regular production, in my opinion, now. If not the best thing that they're making as a regular production. So I stand by that one big time.
I
think
totally
it's a
agree
great
with you.
smoke.
I totally agree with you on that. I think that is the Undercrown line I've had mixed feelings about, but that Biba in that size, yeah, I mean, you nailed it.
I just think it's they're onto something with that, and I'm glad it's regular production, and I'm glad it's around all the time.
I wish they would have put. That's a cigar. I wish we talked about packaging. I would have thrown a secondary band on it that said Biba. I think it would have really made that cigar stand out.
Yeah, I think it stands out on its own, right?
It does, which is good. But for creating more awareness that it's different, because not everyone is a Stogie geek, so they may just think it's another Undercrown, and they may have had a bad experience with the Undercrown. So that's why I would say. That's why I think it's in this case. I would have put. I'm not trying to tell Drew Estate they know a lot more about marketing than I'll ever know, but in this case, I think that secondary band would have really helped with this.
It actually took some talking into by Stogie Santa for me to even try this cigar because of my thoughts of Undercrown prior to this. But for all you out there that are listening, even if you don't like Undercrown, give this cigar a shot. I think.
I agree.
Bare minimum, you'll notice the difference.
I smoked a Monte Cristo Monte. This is the torpedo size.
I like that cigar. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a box press into a torpedo, which is kind of like a shark size from Fuente, right? So I love the size. This was a solid stick. I mean, it's a fiver all day long. Great flavors, great burn, construction, the whole thing. It wasn't the most complex cigar. It didn't knock my socks off, but it's a solid offering for a non-Cuban Monte Cristo. I was very impressed with this. Solid fiver. You like this one too, Will?
Yeah, and in fact, I believe, I'm just kind of looking real quick, I believe I gave it the same thing. I believe I gave it a fiver as well. And
there you go.
For the price point, you can get, Monte Cristo is one of the more premium brands. You're getting a good price point with that. And I think the aging potential is there long term with this thing too.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was a really nice release by Altadas this year.
Yep. Very good.
Stogie Santa actually recommended it to me. I bought one. I have it in the humidor. I haven't smoked it yet.
That's why I smoked one, because Stogie Santa recommended it, and he was spot on. He was spot on.
And the Conde, which is the pigtail Corona, it's kind of a Corona size, smokes very different than that box press. So, I mean, it's still very good. And then there's a 6x60, which I haven't had in that line. But, yeah, try that pigtail one as well, because I think you'll be surprised. That one's going to give you a different kick on that whole cigar.
I'll go again because I think I have some more cigars than you guys. I smoked an Opus X Love Affair. This is kind of like a bestseller size, but
how appropriate.
It's an Opus X. That's right. I got it. I got I have 3 cigars left. One's an Opus and one's Davidoff, just to keep with tradition. Again, this is like a bestseller sized Opus X cigar. Fantastic flavors of leather and sweetness. And this is right out of the box. This is not an aged Opus. I bought a box about a month ago, and these are smoking awesome right out of the box, which is not always the case for Opus. A lot of people say 4 years is the minimum. You got to age Opus in your humidor, and some people get frustrated with that. I think myself included. I find that this size, you don't have to age as much. And I love smoking these when they're new out of the box. I love smoking them aged. I think it's a great offering. My favorite sized Opus, I think, in general, all around, has to be this size. This is a 4.5. Fight Chuck Norris for him, hands down.
I go back and forth as to whether I like this one or the Power Ranger the most, and one of the reasons why I like those two the most is that they do smoke well fresh. And I don't know if that's because they're both shorter opuses. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but yeah, no, I think there's something to be said for that. That you can smoke them fresh, you can age them, and because I find myself buying opuses and not smoking them for a while a lot.
Which is a shame, because cigars want to be smoked, you know?
Or I want to smoke them.
Yeah, it's both, right? You guys got more?
I
think
got
have
one more.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Will.
Can't keep with the football theme. I smoked the latest installment of the Mike Ditka Camacho series, the Ditka 89. And this one has a San Andreas Maduro wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and Dominican and Honduran filler. It comes in one size, 6x50. It's a limited production run, as all the Ditkas are. This one's interesting because it has all the other. This is the 5th release in the line, and the other 4 have all been in coffin boxes. This one is in cello wrap, and it's got a higher price point of $12.50. So, for example, the throwback was a $10 cigar in a coffin box. Now, that being said, this is a really nice cigar by Camacho. It fits in with the mantra of the bold standard. So it definitely it's going to start out medium to full in strength and body, and you're gonna feel the kick at the end in terms of being full body. It's got a great red pepper taste to it, so there's some spice to this. You're gonna have to like a spicier cigar. It's got the chocolate, natural tobacco, a little cream on the finish. It's a fiver. It's a definite fiver. If you're into the bolder standard by Camacho, give this a try. Nice cigar. I enjoyed it.
I have one of these that I bought from Mr. J Havana Smoke Shop, and I haven't smoked it yet.
Yeah, I'm curious on it. And it's got great. If you're packaged, it's got the Bears colors on it.
Yeah.
So
if you're a Packers fan, you won't like it. Well, the packaging anyway.
Well, there won't be a lot of Packers fans smoking the Ditka releases.
This is true.
Take the band off if you're a Packers fan.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mark Jr.?
Sure. My last smoke of the week was the Room 101 Master Series 1, the Papi Chulo, which is a 4x42 Petit Corona. It has a San Andreas Ligero Rosado wrapper. It has binder is Nicaraguan Corojo Corte number 3. Which I've never heard that designation before, so maybe Will could fill us in on that a little bit. And then the filler is Honduran Corojo, Nicaraguan Habano Ligero, and San Andreas Ligero. These were about $8, and there were 400 cabinets of 50 that came out of these. This is a smoke that I grabbed the same day as I bought that Ashton ESG, as a matter of fact. So I've probably had this for about a month as well. I'm going to say, I don't talk about packaging a lot, but I'll say this. The packaging of this line is, I think, awesome. I love the band. It's very bold with that chrome and gold type aesthetic to it. The box is awesome. It's this like black lacquered, with the Japanese cherry blossom on it, and it's just a really, really solid presentation. That being said, the construction was perfect. I thought both the burn and the draw. As for the smoke itself, I thought it was a medium full in strength and full flavored. It had a nice spice and earth and had a faint sweetness to it. The retro hail had a nice subtle flavor of toasted nuts, and all in all, I thought it was really well balanced. And in my opinion, I think it ranks right up there with for whatever reason, there's the Daruma Mutante has always stuck out as a cigar of his that I've really liked, and this ranks right up there with that one for me. I would rank this as a 5-er, and I say 5-er only because it's a box count of 50. If it was 25, it would be a box split all day for me. Yeah, I thought this was a really solid offering from Room 101, and I will definitely be smoking more of these. That's for damn sure.
Nice. I smoked an Illusione Epernay Robusto. This is actually a pretty mild offering. I don't usually think of Illusione as having a milder kind of profile, but Todd over at Havana Club recommended this in the morning as the first cigar of the day. So I did it, and I really liked it. I think these are awesome. I think these come in cabs of 50. I mean, I said box split, but I think I'm talking about maybe having 10 or 15 hanging around in your humidor to smoke. I'd say in the morning. It had a great medium body profile, lots of wood flavors, lots of sweetness. Great cigar with coffee. I mean, as all cigars, I think, go good with coffee. I can't think of one that doesn't, right, off the top of my head. But this one really hit the spot in the morning.
I actually really love this. I mean, I'm a big fan of Illusione in general, but I love the Epernay because it sort of is not the usual flavor profile that I go for or what I expect from him, like you had said. So it's kind of a cool change of pace. And I haven't tried that size in particular, but the sizes I have tried have all been pretty awesome in my opinion.
It's got a pretty good price point too. It's like $6 or $7 or something like that. The last one was my Davidoff Year of the Snake.
I want to hear about this one.
I did like this cigar. I got some grassy notes that were very enjoyable that I almost kind of wasn't expecting. I don't get those from some of the other Davidoffs that I like to smoke, like the Colorado Claro, for example, or even the Millennium Blend. The Year of the Snake, to me, had this grassy component that was really, really awesome. And it melded in a lot of different flavors there. The grassiness kind of came and went, but in a good way, and it was an enjoyable experience. I liked it better than the Year of the Horse. I'm saying box split. I think you need that's because I think you need 5 of these, right? Even at $30 a piece, I think they're going to age well. I think it's a fantastic smoke. I do have to say I don't think I liked it as much as the rest of the Stogie Geeks crew. I don't know if this would necessarily show up on my top 10 list or deserve the Chuck Norris or Oasis rating for me, but I'm calling it a box split.
It's fair.
And the first one I had terrible construction. This one actually didn't, so that's why I didn't, but still, I don't think, again, I ranked it as high as the rest of the Stogie Geeks crew, but it is a solid offering, even carrying the $30 price tag. I think it's something you need to try.
You should say Stogie Santa and Will. I think you and I were on the same page.
Oh, yeah, so you're right. Yeah, Mark Jr., you were on the same page. You weren't really wowed by this either, huh?
No, I was not, to be honest with you.
It had a little bit of wow factor for me. I will say that.
But that's cigars for you, man.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. There's no right or wrong answer. I mean, everyone's palate's going to hit it different.
Yeah, so I'd say Stogie Santa and Will rated this extremely high. Somewhere in the middle, and Mark Jr. probably after me in terms of ranking the Davidoff Year of the Snake.
I think you rated it as Oasis, didn't you, Will?
Yeah. I had it, and Stogie Santa and I both had it as our number 2 behind the Cien Años Maduro.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I have a couple left, and and I know I'm going to hold on to one for a while because I'm curious to see what happens over time with that cigar. I was talking earlier, Paul. I know when we were having a little bit of problem. I mentioned, the Abo LE10. I just want to mention that's almost 4 years old, and it's still holding its flavor. And I'm really curious to see if the Davidoff Year of the Snake in 4 years will hold its flavor. That's really the litmus test in my book.
Yeah, the grassiness component tends to go away.
Yeah, it does.
Alrighty. With that, we're going to take a short break, come back, and do the fabulous segment that we have for the show.
Yep.